So yes, the Pokemon market is really slowing down. And obviously, you can see that by the charts. You can see that by TCG player sales volume. You can see that by the price, how it's moved in the past few weeks. It's obvious, but in this video, I want to give a real world example that I like to do, and I've always done this just to see how like the real, I guess demand is. And what do I mean by that? So it's easy to look on TCG Player, eBay at sales, the volume and stuff. But one thing I really like to do to see, okay, what is the real demand, in-person demand, is looking at a card store, and how they sell product. Their kind of sell through. I like to look at those that information because it shows a real world example of okay, how is the Pokemon demand in real life at a actual card store. And that is something I've done for a while now, and I've been doing it in the past like month, and I have noticed a lot of things are not selling as fast, nearly as fast. Things have really slowed down, and I wanted to give some examples in this video, just some numbers, things I've tracked to show you guys that things really have truly slowed down, and it's not just okay, like me just saying that or whatever. I want to give you guys a real example, and I don't know if any of you guys do that too and look at supply at your local card store and the numbers they have of a product and how it sells, or maybe you do actually go in person and see how things are. You guys can let me know if you've also seen a trend of things slowing down. But what I do, I just literally go onto my local card store's website and look at the supply, and usually like a day or two later I'll just look to see if they sold anything, and here's what I've noticed and here's the data that I've collected. So I want to give the first example here. They had some Temporal Forces booster boxes for sale. They had about 3 weeks ago 10 Temporal Forces booster boxes for sale. Okay, 3 weeks ago. So today I check, they have 3 left. So that means in 3 weeks 7 Temporal Forces booster boxes sold. And mind you, they don't have many booster boxes for sale. It's not like they have a huge, plethora of different booster boxes to buy from. Like they have a huge amount of SKUs where, okay, if they had like 20 different sets, okay, 7 Temporal Forces booster boxes selling, relative to that then isn't bad. If you understand that, difference. But they only have a few booster boxes, a few Pokemon booster boxes for sale, and 7 Temporal Forces booster boxes sold in 3 weeks. In my opinion, that's not that great. We're talking about we're in a strong market still, even though things have pulled back. We're still in a pretty strong market, but only 7 have sold in 3 weeks. To me, that's kind of eh. I know Temporal Forces isn't the most craziest set out there. It's not the most popular thing, but we are still in a point of product scarcity and high demand. And in my opinion, I don't think that's many booster boxes selling. Now, if you're wondering, okay, is this a tiny store? It's not that tiny. I would say it's a moderate size. It's not a tiny store. It's not a huge store. It's like a moderate size store. They're in a relatively like pretty affluent area, and that's how many sold. So you guys let me know if you think that's good sales or not. Personally, I don't think that is, just in my opinion. And moving on to the next product I saw, with supply and stuff. Same thing. About 3 weeks ago, I saw they had 18 Journey Together booster boxes, enhanced ones, for sale at 18. Now, as of today, they have 5. So that means 13 booster boxes sold in 3 weeks. Now, I know Journey Together isn't the most popular set, but for collectors, it is it's a kind of a toss up. Collectors kind of like Journey Together being a small set because they can kind of get what they want. And the pull rates then I guess for their specific card isn't that crazy, so a lot of collectors do like Journey Together. And 13 booster boxes sold in the last 3 weeks. That is better, obviously, than the Temporal Forces sales, obviously, because Journey Together is more modern. Some people still like the set, but 13 boxes. And mind you, okay, I probably should have prefaced this whole thing. They price everything exactly TCG player market, like exact to the dollar, pretty much. So they're very fair with their pricing. It's not like they mark them up. They charge market price for TCG market price for everything. So it's not like it's overpriced. It's just market. And 13 sold in 3 weeks. That's not even one per day. In my opinion, that's not that crazy. Once again, yes, is Journey Together not the most popular crazy set? Sure, but it's like I said, for collectors, it's still relatively popular and modern. And 13 boxes sold in 3 weeks. Now here's the last one. This one's gonna maybe surprise you guys. This is still, very popular of a set, Prismatic Evolutions, right? Out of all these sets, the Prismatic is the most popular one, obviously, and the most expensive one. And here's some interesting sales volume data that I've kind of saw here. So they have regular ETBs, right? About a week ago I checked. They had 16 of these, okay? And today, if you had a guess, before I even say it, okay, they had 16 ETBs and it's at market at like 140, right? That's market. Guess how many they sold in about a week? They had 16. What do they have now? They sold 4 in a week. And mind you, we're talking about a strong market here. We're talking about Prismatic Evolutions. Still, it's talked about. Still, people like EVs. People still, want to chase these cards. People, still like Prismatic Evolutions. Only 4 ETBs sold in a week. Honestly, that's not that many. That's not even 1 per day. And we're talking about one of the most hyped sets, one of the most popular sets still. I mean, to me, and we're talking about also including weekends here, that's not that crazy. That's not that crazy of sales volume. 4 in a week, and we're talking about also weekends. And like I said, this isn't a tiny store. They price everything to market. That's definitely a slowdown. I remember before when it was like the peak hype, they were selling things very fast. These 16 ETBs would have sold in a week. Trust me, I've seen it. Now, 4 in a week. It's really nothing. So, I just want to give this real world example of an actual card store and their sales volume and what I've tracked. It's not as high as it used to be. 100%. It's 100% slowdown. Now, is this a bad thing? Is this a good thing? I mean, obviously, it's just reflecting how the market is. But this is definitely, connecting to what the market really truly is doing in terms of, okay, sales is slowing down. And it's not just, people saying that on the internet. It's really slowing down in real life too. And I just wanted to give this example, a real life example of what's actually been going on. It's the same thing as the market. It's not as crazy. This is just one example. And like I said, you guys can let me know if you go to your local card store, maybe you buy stuff, maybe you go there, play games. I don't know, whatever the case may be. If you go there in person, have you guys noticed a slowdown in people showing up, maybe in sales volume, maybe on the weekends, and maybe there's less people there? Let me know. Is it still crazy? Do your card stores have products still on the shelves? Do they have a wide variety? Or are they all usually still sold out and it's still very vacant? I mean, you guys can let me know. But from what I've seen, it looks like they're getting somewhat more supply. They don't have crazy amounts, but it seems like they're listing more than what's coming down from their website. From what I'm seeing, it looks like there's more products getting listed from obviously people selling than what's going out. I remember at one point they were pretty vacant on product, but now it seems like they don't have every single product. Obviously, like I said, they don't have many booster boxes still, but it just seems like things are sitting on shelves for a little bit longer and not flying off like they used to do. But it's just a sign of the times, and I just want to give this a real world example of a card store that has truly seen a slowdown in sales volume. And this is data that I look at to really see, okay, what is really going on in the actual world with the Pokemon market. And using an example of a card store, I feel like is pretty relevant to see what is actually happening. So just want to share this information with you all. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.